What's up, cuties? Today we're going over the UFC GOAT list in 2025, top 15, and some honorable mentions. On the left will be Q's answers, and on the right will be T's answers, otherwise known as me. But let's not waste any time. Let's get right into the honorable mentions.
So,
You start your
I
honorable
kn-
mentions.
yeah. So for my honorable mentions, starting from worst to best, I have Israel Adesanya, Ilia Topuria, and Dricus du Plessis. Now, my reason for having Israel Adesanya here is, five title defenses, two times champion. He's got a solid strength of schedule, not the greatest, and he has a couple losses, so I can't really. He has a lot of losses. Let's keep it a buck here.
Recently.
Yeah. And he's just not been very impressive in a lot of his title defenses, so I can't justify having him top 15, but I do respect what he's done in the time he's been in the sport. Next up, I have fucking Ilia Toro. Um, he's he's just got the two best back-to-back wins, and you could argue him a lot higher. You really can. The only reason I don't have him any higher is because he only has about five notable wins, being Zalal, Mitchell, Emmett, and then obviously Folk and Holloway. And I can't put him top 15 over the likes of Anderson Silva and Daniel Cormier whenever he's just not had that amount of good wins.
Mm-hmm.
He has the quality. He just does not have the quantity. But I definitely think he will be higher up on this list by the end of this year. I think he could arguably be top 10 by the end of this year. Um, and then right outside my top 15, I have Dricus du Plessis. I think he's the second greatest middleweight of all time. I believe that his win over Israel Israel Adesanya definitely cemented him as that, and the win over Strickland just put him even higher up the goat list. He has wins over the likes of Darren Till, Robert Whitaker, Izzy, again, what's that kid's name? Strickland twice. Brunson, I think he's got another win or two in there. I just think he has a great strength of schedule, and he's finishing a lot of his fights. So I think that just shows dominance, and that's a key factor when you're talking about the GOAT list. All right.
Okay. I respect the takes. For my first, to start off the honorable mentions, I have Pantoja. I think he could be higher, and I think he will be higher. I think he is the second best flyweight of all time. I think a couple more title defenses will get him over DJ. Obviously, DJ has a lot. Pantoja is not there yet, quantity wise. However, DJ, and it's not his fault, he kind of ran through his division and wasn't fighting all the quantity. Now, I do understand the arguments saying with Pantoja. He did fight Kai Asakura on his debut, and, I understand. But he also has multiple wins over the top contenders in his division, and so I think he will be higher eventually. But right now, I have him at the bottom. Number two.
Hold on. What wins do you think he needs to surpass DJ?
Okay.
I'd like to talk
Mm.
on that.
So everyone wants to see him in Cap. Cap's on a come up. Um, is he booked against KK? He's booked against KKF right now, right?
No,
Or is that just a rumor?
Pantoja? No, it's not booked, but it's pretty much all but confirmed for
Okay.
317.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I've seen it so many times that I begin to think it's
Yeah,
real. Um,
yeah.
but I think a KKF and a Cap. I don't know. I don't think that gets him there. However, I think if he fights another good up and comer who's got some, you know, good wins behind him, um, for example, one of our favorites on this channel, hopefully Joshua Van can get up there. And if Joshua Van is coming off of good wins, which he kind of is right now, if he beats Bruno Silva, maybe another person or two, but gets the title shot, Pantoja beats him, I think he could surpass DJ. Maybe not, but I think another three is really good if they're high quality. Obviously, DJ was very dominant and great finishes. Obviously, the most popular one, just the flying armbar, very unique, one of the most unique of all time. However, there was a bunch of people that he fought. Not a bunch of people, but there were some people he fought that might have been lower quality, like Habib Nurmagomedov. We'll get to that in a second. Anyway, moving on. Dricus du Plessis. I'm biased here, and that's why I have Dricus a little lower than Q over here. Izzy is one of my favorite fighters. Recently, he has been on a downward spiral. However, I think he is one of the greats. Dricus did beat him, and I normally don't put people above people who beat them. However, once again, Izzy is coming off a few losses. He's not exactly in the prime of his career. He's kind of on the tail end of it, like a Silva, coming off some losses. So is it a great win against Israel Adesanya? Absolutely. He did sub him, first person to ever do that. However, I don't think we saw Israel's exact skill, and DDP is a very interesting fighter, we'll say. And
One way to put it.
yeah, well, that's one way to put it. He turns into just going for Izzy's leg. Very interesting. He makes stuff work. I'm not hating on it. DDP. I actually enjoy DDP a lot. I think I love his press conferences. Once again, as an Izzy fan, it was pretty funny for DDP to make him cry. I watched that live, and the underdog comment is pretty funny. I'm not going to try the impression as of lack of skill, but very entertaining to watch. And at the top end of my honorable mentions, who is kind of like number 16. Honestly, he could be top 15, and I think he kind of is. However, I have a couple of the better flyweights in here, and I kind of wanted to mix it up. Not flyweights, my mistake. Featherweights in here, kind of wanted to mix it up. I don't want to put all top 3. Are you ready to go to number 15?
I'm ready.
Okay. Number 15 for each of us.
I mean, click enter.
I did click enter. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So at my number 15 spot, I have Alexandre Pantoja. I think he's done enough in the modern era. He has, I think 3 or 4 title defenses now,
Mhm.
and that's just really impressive. Especially if you look at who he's going against.
And
He
how
went
he's
up,
doing it.
yeah, how he's doing it. He went up against Brandon Moreno, had a fight of the year, and won fairly clearly in my decision. I don't think you can give that fight to Moreno unless you're like just stupid. I mean, don't know what else to say. He's beat Moreno 3 times. He's beat Cap. He's beat KKF. He's beat Royval 2 times. I think Royval is very underrated. Let's see. He beat Alex Perez, and his only 2 real losses in the UFC are coming to Askar Askarov, who's one of the better flyweights in the world outside of the UFC. If he's even still fighting, I don't even know. And Davison Figueiredo, who is still beating top contenders at the bantamweight division today.
Well, he did just come off of a loss.
He did, he
He
did,
did. He did.
but that was a competitive 50-45.
Fun fight.
You can't just look at the scorecards. You gotta look at the fight. He dropped Peter Yan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, people forget, man.
And
Davison
Moicano dropped Islam.
Figueiredo.
Let's
Yeah, he did. He did. All right, all right.
Holy
We'll
Islam,
get to
man.
we'll get to Islam. We'll get to Islam. Gotcha.
All right.
All right.
I'm gonna take the mic from you here, and I'm gonna go into my number 15 pick. Could you say DDP is number 2? Yeah. Is there a solid argument? Nah. Israel Adesanya is the best middleweight of all time. Okay? Who is Anderson Silva? However, we will get to him in a second, sadly. Israel, realistically, I still believe is the number 2 of all time. He has first of all, let's just look at probably his strongest win. Actually, not probably, definitely his strongest win. Alex Pereira. Now, Alex Pereira has 2 losses in the UFC, I believe. Israel and Magomed Ankalaev. Big ink, Who really cares about him? Held him against the fence. Alex wasn't throwing. Is what it is. He will win the rematch. Back to Israel, though. His knockout on Alex Pereira, a knockout, not a decision like Magomed. The only time Alex has been knocked out in the UFC, it's aging really well. We saw him uh, get beat by Alex, but then Alex moved up, went to light heavyweight, 3 title defenses in pretty dominant fashion, finished all 3 of them. So I think Israel's win over that. I think it aged or over Alex, not that. It has aged really well, along with the fact 5 title defenses, and the people at the time were good. He did lose to Sean Strickland.
Well,
I know,
uh,
I know. He did lose to Sean Strickland, and I know
I
Marvin
don't know. It's
Vittori, and
it's more his, defending against Marvin,
yeah,
Cannonier,
Cannonier,
Costa. I mean, I'm not gonna
Yoel
lie.
Romero. Come on now, he's still.
Roman Dolidze would be one of his better wins, if we're being honest here.
Hey now, yeah, no.
I
Israel
don't.
has more title defenses than Alexandre Pantoja on the left of the screen. Okay.
Okay, but look at who they're against, and look at what Izzy did. To get his interim title, he went to war with Fat Kelvin Gastelum, who's about to get slapped by Big Joe Piper.
To be fair, Kevin Gastelum is hell of a big man. Just like Marvin Vittori, he can take a hit. Okay, sometimes, just cause his weight. And Marvin Vittori, do you blame Izzy for not finishing him? He's just a blockhead who eats punches.
Uh,
You know.
I just think that Izzy's resume is very overrated. I don't think he won the second Whitaker fight. I don't think he won the Yoel fight. And the Cannonier fight was, for lack of better words, shitty.
Listen, I'll be
Same with the
honest.
Marvin fight. And the
Were the fights the best? Not entirely, okay? But it's Israel Adesanya we're talking here, okay? He's the GOAT. He fondles dogs on the weekend sometimes, and sometimes has something in his cup pre-fight. What a guy. Can you really... Oh, wait, no, that was after the fight, huh? It was pre-something else, though. You know what I'm saying? Um, you can look at that. I do agree with you on that point. His resume is overrated. It's not the greatest. Obviously, the Yoel Izzy fight was, you know, not the most electric per se, but he
one
still
way to put
won.
it.
He still won. Yoel is a specimen, and he beat him.
Let's also not forget that Izzy has bigger tits than most women his age. Now, I'm not trying to call him a drug cheat, but
Hey, and
there's
we'll get
there's
to drug
signs.
sheet in a minute here, okay?
Oh yeah.
Talk about that. Would you like to move ahead to number 14?
I guess I disagree with your number 15, but it's your list, so it is what it is.
Well, you know what? I agree with yours, so screw you. Number
Okay.
14. Take it away.
So I have Anderson Silva number 14. I honestly thought about putting him lower, and that's a hot take because some idiots have him in their top 5.
One. Some people have him one.
Some people have him one somehow.
Mm-hmm.
His best win is Vitor Belfort.
Mm-hmm.
His second best win, Chael Sonnen. Now, I'm not going to sit here and deny Chael's GOAT status, but let's not act like Anderson Silva wasn't 30 seconds away from getting 50-45 by Chael Sonnen before he locked up that choke. He just he lacks the strength of competition.
Mm-hmm.
He has a lot of losses on the tail end of his career.
Yeah.
And not even trying to make a joke here, one of his better wins is it's actually Derek Brunson, who is the only person he beat in like his last, what was it, 11 fights. He went on a fat losing streak.
Call him Tony. Call him T Ferg.
Yeah,
By the
I
way,
mean,
I do want to note something on Anderson Silva.
mm,
Obviously, I may have him a little higher. However, would you agree that the main reason that he's overrated, which once again, 10 title defenses, not gonna that's hard to do against any person. But he just doesn't have the name value. But you can agree probably that one of the reasons he's most overrated just because he's a fun fighter and he tries to look good, but and he is, but that doesn't make him the best of all time.
yeah, no, people just, that's one thing that goes good for him, is he does have a lot of knockouts and finishes.
Hmm.
But let's not act like he wasn't defending against plumbers. Can any of you guys tell me who Patrick Cote is? How about Thales Liates?
What a guy.
Now, it may just be because I was not watching UFC around that time. But I don't think that win's very impressive, if you ask me.
Mm.
He just really does not have the strength of competition to have him where a lot of people have him. He has a lot of good wins, but he doesn't have any great wins or any all-time wins.
Okay.
He has Belfort, Sonnen, Maya, Griffin, Hendo, then takes a drop off from there. Really does.
Hmm.
Just for that reason, I really don't think you can have him much higher than 14 on your list.
Well, talk about 14 on your list. Let's go to mine. Ilya Top Toto. Let's go. And it may be controversial that I have him this high. Maybe controversial that I have him above Izzy in general, which I kind of agree with. Once again, I'm a huge Izzy fan, and Ilya only has one title defense. However, I mean, if we look at his wins, right? Bryce Mitchell, I would say one of the better grapplers in the division. Obviously,
Probably top five grapplers in his
probably top
division.
five. You might look at it a little different, considering John Silva just absolutely murdered him UFC 314. However, he still got a submission on him as well. Um, which, yes, he kind of got held down a lot. You know, it wasn't the greatest grappling show here by Ilya, but he still got the submission. He got it done. Talk about getting it done. Okay. Allegedly, he slept Max Holloway, which has never been done before. I think it's CGI. I didn't watch it happen, of course. It wasn't live on UFC 308. And
Yeah.
so he allegedly slept Max Holloway, put him on the canvas cold.
On
Nobody has
October
ever
26th,
done. Okay. Who's Joel? But
sorry.
sorry. Who's Joel? October 26th, 2024 was the alleged win. And nobody has knocked down Max Holloway, let alone knocked him out. We're not counting the Justin Gaethje. He slipped. We all know that. Max is, the GOAT.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really counts that. However, Moicano did drop Islam. Let's put it out there. Anyway, also, Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski, Volk number one, Holloway number two, are the best featherweights of all time. I understand y'all are going to say something about Aldo. Okay. Volk beat Aldo. But that's not even what we need to worry about. Max beat Aldo twice, and Volk beat Max 3 times. And the total of how many is it? Is it 5 champions in that entire division's history?
Yeah.
Like it's a pretty basic show of who is the best. Obviously, you think Ilya goes against both above both of them, but he just once again back to what Q was saying in the beginning in his honorable mentions. He really does not have like the depth in a roster. His resume is impressive, a bunch of submissions. I'm pretty sure he has more submissions than KOs actually, which
He does.
which I would love to see on show against Charles Oliveira if they do book that fight. You know, as we know, Charles is uh, the most submissions in UFC history, and Ilya's got a bunch as well. So I'd love to see that if that actually comes. However, Bryce did hold him down, so I don't know. We'll see. But that's why I have Ilya as my number 14, and Q number 13. Who is yours?
All right. All right. Number 13, Kamaru Usman.
Usman.
Now, I see a lot of people putting him a lot higher. And while I can see that, his title defenses are against Jorge Masvidal and Colby Covington. Both of those guys twice. And then fucking Dilbert Burns, who I'm sorry, is not an elite welterweight. Maybe at the time. But we just saw him get 50-45 by Sean Brady.
To be
I mean,
fair, Sean Brady's kind of the GOAT
hey,
recently.
hey. Now, yeah. Let's get to that.
Yeah.
Kamaru Usman lost to Leon Edwards twice.
Oh,
Explain to me how you are losing to a man who got dumped on his bald spot by Bilal Muhammad and held down by Sean Brady for 4 minutes and 50 seconds of a 5 minute round.
57 seconds.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I just think those Leon losses are not aging well at all. And I believe that even before the losses, he didn't have that great of wins. I mean, the Woodley win's impressive, really impressive. But I just don't rate Jorge at all. I don't rate Covington that much either. And I love Gilbert Burns, but I mean, I don't rate him that highly either.
Hmm.
After that, who's he beaten? Like a 40-year-old Damian Maya? I mean, he just does not have that great of a resume.
Remind me when his last fight was as well, please.
Yeah, I mean, that was against Hamzat Chimaev. That was a very impressive performance against Hamzat. I thought it was a draw, but I mean, you got 10-8 in the first. You kind of deserved to lose the fight. I'm not gonna lie.
Talk about first
And,
rounders,
yeah,
man. Hamzat is one of the
yeah,
best. That's for another video, though. However, all right.
yeah.
My number 13, Daniel Cormier, DC big man. Okay. Let's look at his losses. Okay, he's got 3 total. John Jones, debatably the best fighter of all time. PED cheat. Put it out there. No contest. The second one doesn't count. He beat DC 1 time. I don't hear any discussions. Then Stipe Miocic twice. Yes, back to back. However, Stipe Miocic is the best heavyweight of all time, and he's ranked pretty highly among should be everybody. Great fighter. Loves to fight him. And how many title defenses does DC have? I believe he has like 3.
I think he had 3 or 4
Yeah,
at light heavyweight, 1 at heavyweight.
yeah. Because which I want to note that, by the way, DC is, well, I mean, obviously levels above Ilya, even though he's just 1 rank behind him. I think he's levels above him. Um, he defended his belt in both divisions. Some people
Yeah,
get him and don't defend him any at all. Conor McGregor. However, DC did defend him. He's over what? I think Ozdemir, Gustafsson, Derek Lewis, uh, and he beat Miocic. Um,
he beat Stipe. He also defended against Rumble, and then having a hard time thinking about who the other person
I
is,
think
if there is one.
um, was there someone else? I think we got most of them. We might be missing one though.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
All
He
right.
also beat Dan Henderson and Anderson Silva.
Also, Josh Barnett, former champion, and Frank Mir, also a former champion. Now, obviously, those were not in the UFC. Well, the Frank Mir was. It was his debut. Josh Barnett was not. Either way, beat them both. Both former champs. Good resume. Pretty dominant. He lost his last 2 before retiring, sadly. But, can you blame him? Stipe
Hey,
Miocic. I
yeah.
lost.
And speaking on that Stipe fight,
Yeah.
he scored the most significant strikes landed in a heavyweight fight on Stipe before he got flash KO'd.
Yeah.
That's even in defeat, he
Mm-hmm.
still looked very impressive. And I don't think that loss takes much off his resume, especially considering it was like what 40 something at that time.
Yeah. Let's also account the they aged. How about we say they aged well? Like the Miocic has lost. Obviously, he's already submitted himself, so that one didn't really age. But the John Jones loss, once, well, I guess he was kind of submitted then, but you get what I'm saying. They're both in our top
He
10.
lost
I'll say that.
he lost to the two goats
Yeah,
of their respective
yeah,
divisions.
light heavyweight and heavyweight. John Jones obviously being light heavyweight, and CB being heavyweight. Are you ready to go to number 12 now?
Yeah.
Talk about number 12. Gosh, UFC 312 was horrible, but we don't got to get into that right now. Your number 12 is Jose Aldo.
Yeah, I have Aldo. I think He's kind of in a similar boat to Anderson Silva, except he just has better wins. He actually has elite wins. And let me pull up his resume here. He has wins over Mario Bautista, Jonathan Martinez, Rob Font, Pedro Munoz, Marlon Vera. These are just at bantamweight.
Mhm.
If you go back and you look at his 7 UFC title defenses, he beat the likes of Chad Mendez, Frankie Edgar, TKZ, um,
Mhm.
Frankie Edgar again, Jeremy Stevens. He beat Hanato Moicano. That win aged greatly.
Yeah. Now ranked number 10 in the heavyweight division.
Yeah. I guess he's a light heavyweight, but
Did I say? No,
uh,
I said lightweight. I
he,
said lightweight.
sure. He said he beat Kennedy Florian as well, who's good at the time. He just has a lot of decent wins with 1 or 2 elite wins. And one of the main reasons I can't put him higher is because he has a lot of losses. I mean, he lost to Marab, but a lot of people lose to Marab, so that's excusable. He
Mhm.
lost to Jan, that's okay, but I mean, you could have won. You just didn't. So I can't pretend it's a good thing. He lost to Volk, he lost to Holloway twice, by the way. Lost to Connor. And he did all this while he was still relatively young. I mean, he's only 38. We just saw Volk get the belt back at 36. But Aldo was losing when he was 32. I mean, you can't use the out of his prime argument that much. You really can't.
I will say, age isn't always prime. Glover didn't touch the belt till he was like 86. So
Yeah, but that's light
obviously,
heavyweights, dude.
yeah.
They're like turtles. They get wiser with age, you know.
Talk about. Oh well, actually, we'll get to that later. Well, actually, no. We'll get to it right now. Light heavyweight. My number 12, as you can clearly see, is Alex Pereira. While being in the UFC, he does have 2 losses now, due to the recent loss to Magomed Ankalaev on 313, I
Dang.
believe. Sadly, very very sad to see. However, um, we can look at his resume and just say records. I'm pretty sure he's the fastest person to get to a belt or get double champ as well. He fought 3 people before getting the Izzy fight, which he only went to decision with once, KO, TKO, the others. The one before Izzy being Sean Strickland, which Sean Strickland, he's a pretty strong win, even if people disagree. And maybe he's not the best fighter, but he was a champ. He did beat Izzy in a good fashion. You know,
He also beat him
that
above.
does not make Izzy bad. Who also beat Imavov, who also beat
Yeah.
Izzy. Anyway, we're gonna move past that.
Starting
Anyway,
to see a recurring
all
theme
right, all
here.
right, all right. Talk about Izzy again. Alex Pereira beat Izzy, but then he gets his champ. He gets his first champ in the middleweight division. Great win, KO TKO. Well, he KO'd him. Well, he TKO'd him standing up, I guess. But it's whatever. Um, then he did lose to Izzy, which is why Izzy is my number 15. Aged really well. But after that loss, he decided to move up. He beat Jan Blachowicz. That is a debatable for some people. It was
It's
split
not
division. I
debatable.
said for some
It,
people. I think Alex wins the fight. A lot of people argue against it. Maybe they just don't like Alex because they beat their goat, Israel Adesanya. Me. But he did beat Jan. Split decision. Close fight. Good fight. Alex won. He then gets his title shot against Yuri Prochazka. I call him Prochaska.
just say Yuri.
Yeah,
Just say
I'll
Yuri.
just say Yuri. Okay, gets his title shot against Yuri, beats Yuri, finishes him. Okay, go, bam, Jamal Hill, first title defense, finishes him. That was UFC 300. Great card, by the way. Absolutely amazing card. Best card of all time. Love to watch it. That was one of my first cards, actually. So if this list is a little not so strong, I have been watching since whatever. I think it's a strong list, though. So beats him, finishes him in a good fashion. He stops, he gets hit, he waves Herb Dean off, and then knocks him out seconds later. Well, I guess he wasn't completely cold, but beats Jamal Hill. Then goes against Yuri once again, finishes him once again. And
Kick
then
KO.
head kick KO, very nice one as well. And Yuri, by the way, I'm pretty sure those are his only 2 losses. Correct me if I'm wrong.
In the
In the
UFC, yeah.
UFC, yeah. Alex Pereira is his only losses, so that's really good. And then Khalil, yes, he was number 7 ranked, I believe, um, when they fought, but he put up a damn good fight for those first 2 rounds. Obviously, fights aren't made by only 2 rounds if it goes like, longer. But
And that's why he lost.
yeah, that's why he lost. But he did put up a good first 2 rounds until he lost. Call him Umar Nurmagomedov, Marab the Goat. And Alex entered a certain, like, I get hyped thinking about it. Alex entered a certain flow. I don't want to say flow state just because it gets overused, but he entered a flow. He was attacking him so nicely. You can see him pick up the pace. Well, the 3rd round is when he really picked it up, but the 4th one is when he tore him down. He had Khalil against the cage, fighting for his life. Khalil is a warrior. He did gain my respect that day. UFC 307, which both of these fighters fought on, by the way. Jose, as Q mentioned earlier, did beat Mario Bautista, holding against the fence. He's a horrible piece of poop. Anyway, which is why I'm excited for Chito Vera to knock him out in their upcoming fight. Anyway, and obviously Alex is coming off of a loss, but he could be higher. If he would have beat Magomed, I probably would have put him higher as well. 4 title
If
defenses.
if he had beaten Magomed, I think I would have had him close to that top five range.
He would
I
be.
think
I wouldn't have put him close to. I mean, yeah, close to top 5, but I probably would have had him like 9 area, honestly.
no, because I had him a lot higher.
Yeah.
And then if he beat Magomed, that's his hardest stylistic matchup
Uh huh.
outside of John Jones and Tom Aspinall, and I guess Jailton Almeida in the entire UFC. In his division, that is his hardest matchup.
Yeah. Who he could
So
have faced
that would have,
earlier, but we don't get that.
yeah,
But I'm pretty sure Magomed actually declined, if I'm not mistaken, or so I've seen.
yeah, time or two.
Exactly. Anyway, enough yapping on that. Number 11.
Yeah, we're gonna have to pick it up a bit. He took a while.
Yeah, do that.
Let's see. Alex Pereira. Um, all the same reasons he said. I had him a lot higher. I had him around that 7 to 8 range, but after that loss, I had to bump him down a little bit. Some people overtook him as well. Um, yeah, he has a great resume. Sean Strickland, Izzy, Jan, who I think Jan's very underrated. Jan has an insanely stacked resume and is still good at this age. I mean, he just beat Oberg. I think he beat Oberg. So still got it. Jan still got it. He beat Yuri twice, and Yuri's good. Even if he can't keep his hands up, he's still good. We saw him
He's
sleep
right there
Jamal
with
Hill
him.
at UFC 311, and he beat Jamal Hill as well. So that seems like a recurring trend in this division because Khalil's about to sleep him out cold as well,
Yeah.
which will help his resume because he also beat Khalil. So
Mm.
I don't know. I still have Alex Pereira pretty high up. If he had beat Magomed, I think I would have had him at that 7 range, maybe. Yeah, yeah, 6 to 7 range. But explain
Um,
your take. Why you
my
have
number
Anderson
11.
Silva this high?
I do have him a little higher. My number 11 matches with his losses, by the way. Holy bum. No. I think what he did for the sport in general, but just it's really the 10 title defenses. Okay, I don't think you could put him top 10, and I would not be mad at that at all. I once again do disagree with the people who are putting him like top 5. I don't think he's a top 5 fighter of all time. We'll get to that, but Anderson Silva 10 title defenses. That is impressive, no matter who you're going against and how
Mm,
you do it. 10 fights is really good, especially when you're the number one and everybody's coming for your head. You got the target on your back and you're beating 10 people doing it. Now, he did lose to Weidman while he was showboating. So got a little over cocky and he lost in the fight. And I'm pretty sure he lost in a rematch against him. Was that the broken leg?
yeah, it's the leg
Okay.
break.
Which, my opinion on this topic, A couple examples: Tom Aspinall hurting himself against Curtis Blades. I just really don't count it as a loss. I mean, he came back, finished in first round. That's completely different. But with Silva, a leg break, it's not entirely his fault. He can't just predict he's going to break his leg. So I know it is a loss, and it goes on the record, and it 100% is a loss, but I just don't take it as serious as the other ones. But Anderson Silva, number 11. Number 10.
So I have Daniel Cormier. I think he's one of my favorite fighters, so I might be a little biased.
Mm-hmm.
But he has an insane resume. If you look back throughout, if you are just taking into account UFC wins, yeah, he might be a little bit lower. But if we look at the people he's beaten in Strikeforce, I mean Josh Barnett. Let's see. Yeah, that's actually it. My bad.
Good point.
But he was Strikeforce champion, and that's really impressive, especially at the time, because Strikeforce was still a very major competitor to UFC. I think his win over Stipe was just fantastic. I mean, moved up, became, I think he was the second ever double champion. Might be wrong. Don't really care. He's other than Amanda Nunes, he's the only double champion to defend both belts. Uh, he defended
Uh,
both. What?
John Jones.
Double champion, not two division champion.
Oh, okay. I would say okay.
Yeah.
That's on me.
Yep. He lo- he only lost to John Jones and Stipe, who are both higher up on this list. Not a big shocker there. And he beat the likes of Frank Mir, Roy Nelson, Dan Henderson. He beat Anthony Johnson twice, which is really impressive because Anthony Johnson was a killer. He beat Silva. Silva was on his losing streak, but still, he still beat him. He beat Gus. Very arguable, but he beat him. And he also beat Volkan Oezdemir, who's still ranked to this day. And Derek Lewis, I guess.
What a guy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get into my number 10 at this point. So obviously you put DC higher than I put DC, and I put Usman higher than you put Usman. Kind of touched on the points already. Um, the Leon Edwards, it doesn't look great, but let's be real here. That I'm not gonna say the R word, but that less brain celled individual who sounds like he wears a helmet to school got lucky on the head kick KO. Let's be real here. Fluke win. Bum. Did he beat him again? I guess. But that doesn't make him better by my logic. So, I don't know. I think Usman's just a little higher than I believe you had him at 13.
Yeah, having Adam at 13.
And I just think he's a little better than some other people that I put, for example. Um, the DC, it is a very uh, strong argument for DC to be higher, obviously. But I don't know. Usman's second best welterweight of all time. I think he deserves to be in the top 10. Number 9, we had the same one.
Number 9. Yeah, number 9, we both have Max Holloway.
Mm-hmm.
And we can kind of just
Bounce back to
discuss
each
this
other.
since,
Yeah.
yeah, let me pull up his resume.
Do we even need to, man? Come on.
Well, I need to pull up his resume for the sole reason that he's beat so many people, and I can't remember all of them.
Yeah. Um, okay. First of all, let's start off. He's got 3 title defenses, I believe, which isn't
Yeah.
anything insane. It's like I'm not gonna say average, but it's like 3. Well, I honestly think
Well,
4 and
technically,
above.
it was kind of only 2.
Mm.
No, it was 3. It was 3. It was 3.
Okay.
My bad.
So I think 4 and above is where you really get into it. But when you have a resume like Max Holloway, you're into it even without the title, like even without putting title contention in it. I mean, he's the number. Is he still the number 1 contender for featherweight? I'm pretty sure
I believe so. Yeah.
he's number 1. Which I mean, he probably should be, but until he fights at lightweight, he's gonna be there. He's ranked top 5 within both. I believe he's 5 in lightweight currently. Yes, he's coming off of a staged loss against Ilya Taporia. But before that, we saw UFC 300. We saw the sleeping of Justin Gaethje, one of the hardest hitter that everyone thought Justin was going to win. And let's be real here, Max kind of schooled him for the majority of the rounds, in my opinion,
He,
and in
he
everyone's opinion.
didn't kind of school him. He just did
Yeah,
school
I
him. I
know,
mean,
but I love Jesse, man. We can't put the hype
yeah,
train
that's all
down,
right.
you know.
Let's not forget that the only people he has really lost to is Volkanovski 3 times, Ilya Taporia, Dustin Poirier twice,
Conor McGregor.
and Connor. And then I don't think he lost to Dennis Bermudez. I think that was a robbery.
Yeah.
So he's only lost to either former champions or Dustin Poirier, who the first fight was in 2012. I'm sorry, that doesn't
On his
affect
debut, I'm
either's.
pretty sure.
It was his debut on short notice.
Yeah.
He was fighting on the regional scene, and they're just like, "Hey, you want to get in the UFC?" He's like, "Sure." So I don't know. I don't think that really drags him down too much. He's only lost to the best fighters, and he's also beaten the best fighters.
Yeah.
You want me to start from the bottom of his resume real quick?
Start from the bottom, and we can be here. Go
All
ahead.
right. All right. Andre Philly, not a great win. It's just one of them
Touchy.
middle of the road wins. Cub Swanson, same deal. Charles Oliveira, at the time, same deal. It aged well, but they're two different fighters. Uh, Jeremy Stevens, good win. Jeremy Stevens is great. Ricardo Lamos, that's an okay win as well. Now, we get to the Anthony Pettis win. Anthony Pettis
Mm.
missed weight for the fight and still got slept. I mean, former champion. I think he had 2 title defenses. He's a great fighter. Great fighter.
Wasn't he the one
Then
that
he,
also ranked in 3 different divisions, I believe?
yeah,
Great
pretty
fighter.
sure. He beat Jose Aldo twice, both by KO in the third round. I mean, that's just wildly impressive to beat the at the time goat of your division twice by finish.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he beat Brian Ortega by doctor stoppage and just beat the dog shit out of him
To
for
be
being really.
fair, I mean, it's Brian Ortega, but no, yeah, really good win there.
Yep. They moved up short notice against Poirier, lost by decision. That's okay. There a lot of people lose to Dustin. It's kind of my go. Then he beat Frankie Edgar. Frankie Edgar's great. Fought in 3 weight classes, ranked in all 3, solid contender in all 3, arguably top 10 in all 3 divisions. And then he lost to Volk twice, but the second one was very competitive. Dropped him twice and still lost. So just unfortunate. Going
But
against one of the greats.
Volk
Uh,
is one of the greatest of all time. We'll get to that in a
Yeah.
second.
And then he put a clinic on Calvin Cater, landed, I think, I don't know, a crap ton of
The
significant
most,
strikes.
the
The
most.
most, yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. I believe it
Then
was somewhere
he,
in the 400s, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
I'll
very
pull that
close.
up for
Then
you.
he beat Yair Rodriguez in a main event. He kind of out-grappled him. He was getting outstruck a little bit, but it's MMA, so you can't complain.
Hmm.
And then he got 50-45 by Volk, which is the main reason I can't have him much higher than where he is. And then he went on a 3-fight win streak against Arnold Allen, TKZ, Gaethje. All great fighters.
Hmm.
TKZ was on his way out, but great fighter in his prime. And
Let me go
then,
back to that Calvin Cater fight for a second. Sorry to interrupt you here. I was right. It is 445 significant strikes out of
yeah,
744, a 59% accuracy, which is amazing out of 744.
yeah. I mean, he was throwing a strike every 2 seconds
Oh,
mathematically.
and not even looking at him.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we pretty much covered Max Holloway. We've established why he's this high. I
Yeah.
think we can move on.
All right. From here, our lists are pretty similar, but I think a lot of people's lists should be similar within their top 10 area due to, the best fighters, as in this guy.
So the reason I don't have to be much higher than this is because he has 3 great wins, which gets him to the top 10. Then he gets like 4 decent wins that kind of puts him above Holloway. He just doesn't have the strength of schedule to be able to be much higher than where he is.
As well as the fact he did retire early. If
Yeah.
he didn't, this could be a much different conversation. Also, he looks like a squirrel. You know, I don't want to put him much higher. I'm just staring into his eyes on my screen right now, and it's making me very uncomfortable. However, he does have 3 amazing title defenses against the likes of Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, and Conor McGregor, who, well,
Yeah.
he won the belt off Conor McGregor, I think.
No, no. Won it off Alec Quinta, who's now a retail. He sells houses. Sells
Oh
houses
yeah,
now.
I was literally looking at his resume. What am I saying? Yeah,
I
Conor
have no
McGregor.
idea.
It's because the afterwards when he's like put the belt on me, I just normally feel like that's when you gain it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it just kind of.
So, and
Anyway.
then he also beat Edson Barbozi, Michael Johnson,
Mhm.
RDA. After that, we're looking at Gleason Tebow and Thiago Tavares. I'm sorry, they're not that great. And he arguably lost to Tebow as well. So,
And if you want to just search up his name in the Google, go to his ESPN profile, go to his earlier wins, which got him even on the scene, and just click on their records and fights for me, please. Anyway,
yeah.
not much more to cover about Habib. Great fighter. I don't think he's top 5. Well, clearly none of us do, as some people put him. I think it's a little too high. But on to number 7. This might get interesting with a lot of you people, considering, well, I'm not going to say anything. Just
So, at my number 7, I have Marab Devalishvili. And I think a lot of people don't have him this high because he does only have one title defense.
mm-hmm.
But if you look at even just his 5 most recent wins, let's see, he just beat Umar. That's an amazing win. Umar hasn't done much yet, but he will go on to do great things.
First
He
Nurmagomedov
beat
loss as well.
Yeah, he beat Sean O'Malley,
Mm-hmm.
who was arguably undefeated and was a champion. He beat Henry Cejudo, former 2-time double champ, Olympic gold medalist. Picked him up, dumped him on his head, and ragdolled him.
Mm-hmm.
He beat Peter Yan, arguably the most skilled fighter in UFC history outside of Demetrius Johnson.
Mm-hmm. Especially within
Yeah,
his division, obviously.
yeah. Then he beat Jose Aldo. Kind of just held him against the fence, but I mean Aldo has the best takedown defense
Mm-hmm.
ever, so you can't even really blame him. Then, if you go back one more fight, he TKO'd Marlon Moraes. And if you go back another fight, it's John Dotson, who's also pretty good win.
Yeah. Also, let's not forget, I'm pretty sure he's on an 11 fight win streak, if I'm not mistaken.
Looks that way, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's 11. And yeah, the last 5 are just amazing. But, I'll get to Marab in a second. Right now, I have Stipe. Uh,
12 fight,
Stipe,
12 fight win streak.
12 fight win streak. Okay, the Umar one bumped it up. I'm a little late on
Hmm.
checking it. Stipe, I mean, there's really not much to say about Stipe. He's the heavyweight GOAT. 2 wins over Daniel Cormier. He is coming off 2 losses. But like 43-year-old going against John Jones because John Jones doesn't want to fight the number 1 ranked contender and interim champion who's actually defended his belt, which, you know, as a Tom Aspinall enjoyer, I don't count him as the interim champion. I think the second John Jones walked into that octagon against Stipe and that fight started, it should have been stripped from him. I don't believe it is though. I think it should be, as because I mean either way, Tom Aspinall needs to fight John Jones, or other way around, John Jones needs to fight Tom Aspinall. I just don't think he should be champ or interim champ because the actual champ fought. Sadly, I hate to say it, but yeah. But Stipe is coming off a loss. I'm pretty sure he was 43, lost against John Jones. Which did he not win the first round?
Second round, second round.
Okay, he won the second round. This is a 43-year-old man in Stipe Miocic, coming off who hasn't fought in what was it 4 years or was it 3? I think it was 3 to 4 years coming off of a loss to Francis Ngannou. But he also beat Francis Ngannou, adding to it. I believe he also beat Alistair Overeem, another great win. And he just got some nice names on his resume. I don't really want to pull it up right now, but 20-5 as well. That's nice. But a lot like the other legend fighters, he did. He is coming off a couple losses on the tail end of career, which is why I have him number 7. But Q, you have him number 6.
I do have him number 6. I'm explaining to you why. So, if we go back and we look at his resume, he got off to an okay start. He was 3-1 in the promotion, losing to Stefan Struve, but he got eye poked in that fight like real bad and finished because of it. Call him Henry Cejudo. I don't think you can
Okay,
really.
wait. Cejudo did not get finished. Let's put that out there.
Okay, yeah, whatever, kid. I don't think you can really take that loss as a loss. I mean, it doesn't affect his resume. That's what I'm getting at. And then he beat Roy Nelson, fought some bums, lost to JDS, which isn't the greatest loss, but JDS was champion. JDS was pretty good. Then he went on a great streak of wins.
Mm-hmm.
He beat Mark Hunt, Arlovsky, Fabricio Verdum, who I think is top 3, probably heavyweights, at least top 5. He beat Overeem, JDS. He beat Ngannou. He lost to DC, but then came back and he beat DC twice. By that time, he's already washed up and old. He's like 50 at this point, I think. And he loses to Ngannou and John Jones. So he's beaten so many former champions, and he did most of them by KO. It's very impressive when you're able to finish everybody. Unlike
Hey,
your number
John.
6 over here.
Hey, no. Talk about finishing everybody. John Jones, Mr. Gay Man. We'll get to that in a second. And yes, now does my fighter that I have as number 6 in the likes of Merab Dvalishvili, is he exactly the biggest finisher? No. However, you can not take it from him his last 5 fights. He didn't finish up any of them, but you already mentioned it, okay? You got Umar Nurmagomedov, first Nurmagomedov win. His stamina is amazing. He schooled him the last 3 rounds. The first 2, I give to Umar. I think a lot of people do. Merab won those last 3 rounds pretty definitively, making fun of him in the middle of it, in front of Habib in his corner. Same thing with Sean O'Malley, okay? Sean O'Malley, a lot of hype behind him. Everyone loves him. I was personally going for Sean O'Malley because I am a Sean O'Malley fan myself, but you cannot discredit Merab for that win. It was like 3-2, I believe. So it wasn't the most dominant, but at the same time, it kind of was the most dominant. Merab just doesn't do a lot of damage. He just takes you down as a little Marat, is what we like to call him over here. And he also showboated on Sean O'Malley during it. Then let's go to Henry Cejudo, who has a win, like he mentioned earlier, double div champ. Also has a win over Demetrius Johnson, which ended his reign.
Oh, well. I don't know if
Debatable.
I don't know if I'd say he won that fight.
It is debatable. However, look at the records, okay? He beat Demetrius Johnson on paper, call him Anthony Smith, but he still beat him. He ended his reign, which kind of sent DJ, which didn't DJ get away from the UFC after that? Like they traded him or something?
Yeah, he went to ONE
They
FC.
dropped him. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he went on a trilogy with
Mariah,
that guy.
Adriana Mariah,
I think was he 1-2 against him or 2-1? I can't remember.
doing one.
Okay. Yeah, he's 2-1 against him. But either way. But I just have Merab 6. I think he's the greatest bantamweight of all time. Obviously, people are gonna look at Cruz, maybe more exciting. But Cody Garbrandt masterclass, 25 minutes, best fighter in the world over here.
Yeah.
So, Marat for the win. Now we are entering the top 5. This, I'm pretty sure we have pretty similar, but once again, I think a lot of people should. So entering our top 5, I think we can kind of just bounce back and forth on each other. Pause. As we enter
Yeah.
Demetrius Johnson. Pause again.
So we both got DJ, obviously. Um, I think you have to have Demetrius Johnson top five.
Mhm.
I can see your argument saying he has a somewhat weak strength of schedule, but at the same time, he was so unbelievably dominant.
Mhm.
He was trick shotting fucking top contenders. I mean, he had a flying armbar on Ray Borg.
Yeah.
He beat Marias twice, which those are good wins. You can't act like those aren't good wins.
Yeah.
He
That wasn't
beat and
UFC though.
yeah, but we're still counting, so I don't really
Yeah.
care. Uh, he beat, in my opinion, he beat Cejudo twice.
Yep.
He beat Tim Elliott. He's all right. John Dodson, great win. Kyoji Horiguchi, great win. Joseph Benavidez twice, great wins. Oh, he beat John Dodson again. Forgot about that. Ian McCall, that's a decent win. And it's not. We're not putting him up here because he's beat the best people. We're putting him up here because he's so unbelievably dominant.
And skilled. I mean, just watch a fight of his and you'll see the art. Like you can't really even. I can't even really say anything about it. Just go back and watch a fight against him, um, and you will see it's not just like his striking or grappling or anything. He's just all around one of the most skilled fighters of all time in any weight division, in my personal opinion.
Mm.
But that's once again that is skill. This is top like best, so that's going off wins and everything. Because if it was skill, I think we'd have some other people in here. But you know, anyway, DJ, great person. And how many title defenses was it? 11.
11 consecutive title
11
defenses.
consecutive title defenses. Should have been 12. Let's be real here. But
Yeah.
Cejudo did beat him on paper. Anthony Smith. Anyway, DJ great fighter, and I know a lot of people are going to. I don't think questioning having him below. I think a lot of people are going to be questioning having him only number 5. I think a lot of people put him higher, and the debate can be made. However, I think number 4 is better. And what is your opinion on Alexander Volkanovski, which we both have number 4, by the way, and Little Meatball Man?
I'm going to be honest. I think Volk is 2 wins away from becoming the greatest fighter of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the only thing that stands in his way is Ilya Taporia and Islam Makhachev
Mm-hmm.
because they're going to be fighting longer than him. So they have the opportunity to get more wins than him. I think if right now Ilya and Islam both are tired and Volk beat Mavzar and Jean Silva, I would put him as the greatest fighter of all time. And
Okay.
do I think he beats both of those? I don't see why he couldn't. I mean, he just had an amazing performance against Diego Lopez, breaking the
The
35 and older curves.
the Drake curse,
The Drake curves, yeah. I mean,
as well as breaking his losing streak. He was coming off of 2 losses to Ilya Taporia and Islam Makhachev. But we can also, while we're talking about his greatness and Ilya and Islam, for example, he has 1 loss in the featherweight division, if I'm not mistaken, at least in the UFC.
mhm,
I think his
yeah,
4th one was like, well, his first one was early on in his career before UFC, but within the UFC, and I don't even know if that was featherweight.
it was
But
welterweight.
oh yeah, interesting there. Anyway, um, so he only has 1 loss in the featherweight division, which he is the best of all time in, and it's where he made his run and his statements and everything. And then going against Islam, he put up a damn good fight against Islam. Debatably won to some people, you know. Um, Also, he came off short notice on which was it, the second one,
Yeah.
which he did get finished in the second one, I believe. But he's still coming in short notice to Islam Makhachev, who is bigger than him, and obviously he got finished. But once again, coming off short notice, it's not. If he had a full camp, maybe could have put up a better try. But we don't even really need to get into Islam that much. We'll get to that in a second. But his 1 loss in the featherweight division is Ilya Taporia. He dominated the rest. I mean, 3 wins over Max Holloway, which is the second best. makes him a good bit above Max Holloway. I mean,
Hmm.
3 wins is just insane. Obviously, once again, the second one is very competitive. But mistake me if I'm wrong, but there was a 50-45 in there somewhere, which is a
Yeah.
more dominant one against one of the best fighters of all time in Max Holloway.
Not to mention, he beat Diego Lopez, Yair Rodriguez, Ortego, fucking BKZ, Chad Mendez. I mean, he's beat.
Aldo, I don't know if you said Aldo.
He's Yeah, he beat Aldo. I forgot about that. He's pretty much beat three, almost four generations of featherweights.
Yeah,
I mean, that's something that very few fighters have ever done.
in any
And
division.
I think that just speaks levels to how good he is.
I mean,
I mean,
36 winning the belt back against a young Diego Lopez who hits hard. Great fight. I will be honest, I was going for Diego Lopez in that fight. Q here was going for Volkanovski. I had Diego Lopez by late round 2 TKO, which he knocked him down, and I got a little happy, which I love Volk. Um, Obviously, I love Volk, but I just love Lopez as well, which I believe he will be the future champ. Um, and with Volkanovski, once again, he's 36, just won the belt back. And Q, who do you see beating him? Because I think we both agree he does horrible things to Mavzar. And if Jean even gets up there in time, I mean, I don't know. I think Volk is just so well rounded and skilled. I still think he beats Jean as well. But I don't want to undersell Jean.
I I view Jean Silva and Diego Lopez on about the same level, except Diego's just a lot bigger. So I don't see Jean Silva being able to to win against Volkanovski because you're hardly ever going to win a decision. So you got to finish him. And I just don't see him doing that.
Yeah. I think
But I mean,
I think if the
if
person
they
that had it get it done, well, one Jean, but I think the person to get it done would have been Lopez. But Alex did a very good job by keeping the distance management. The 5th round, I'm not going to say he ran, but I'm going to say he was definitely playing it smart. He knew he's up on points. There's no need to get into an exchange with Diego, like a hard hitter like that, and especially coming off 2 KO losses.
yeah, I think we move on now.
All right, Volk the goat, love little meatball man. Number 3, we both have Islam Makhachev. Um, I mean, what really is there to say? I believe he has
Yeah.
4 title defenses now, 2 against Volk, which was just number 4, which is why we just cannot put Volk above Islam. There's an argument to be made. It's just
If
his 2 wins
if
against him.
Islam only had those two Volk wins, sure, but he also has wins over Poirier, Charles,
Mm-hmm.
Arman, Moicano, Hooker, Queen Green. I mean, he just has an insane strength. Drew Dober, yes, an insane resume.
Let's also put it out there that he submitted Charles Oliveira. That's
Yeah,
important.
he's going out
Yeah.
there and he's finishing these fighters.
Mm-hmm. Now,
He's
the
not
title
taking them.
defenses is where you can make your, I guess, debates. Because you got Volk on short notice coming from smaller. You got Volk the first time, debatably beating him, and also just being smaller. But it's not really Islam's fault, which is why I'm pretty sure it's been rumored that Islam turned down Ilya because he doesn't want to be the guy to just beat a bunch of featherweights, which I completely understand. And same with Himanato Moicano. He's lined up to fight the number 1 contender in Arman Sarukian, and Sarukian hurt his back. What can you really do? I mean, Hanato was the only person able to just step up and get right in there. So it's not Islam's fault that he has to fight a number 10 ranked Hanato Moicano. And then if we go to Dustin Poirier, there's no excuses to be made there. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just Dustin Poirier. You know, he's obviously on the tail end of his career, but that does not mean he was not still skilled. I mean, coming off a win to BSD, probably shouldn't have got a title shot off one win against BSD. But either way, it's Dustin Poirier. That's an impressive win, no matter what circumstances.
Yep.
Do you have anything else to say about Islam?
No, no, not really.
Actually, I think we put it in there.
I think we kind of covered a good bit of it.
I do want to put this in here though. If he becomes double champ, What do you think?
He becomes double champ. If he beats Bilal
Uh-huh.
after Bilal comes off a JDM win, I'd call him the greatest fighter of all time. If he beats JDM, I'd say he needs one more defense.
And that's not it's not ridiculous because a lot of people underestimate Bilal. We don't need to get into that right now. Also another video, but a lot of people underestimate Bilal and his good resume, even if he's not a, per se fight finisher like Marab, who we had or who I have is number 6. All right, number 2 and number 1 is where it gets a little sticky. Q, I'm gonna let you explain yours first.
So number 2, I have GSP. In my opinion, you gotta have GSP in your top 3. I don't care where you put him in there necessarily, but I just think 2 fits him the best. Because let's take a look at his resume. He has so many title wins, I'm not even going to bother trying to count all of those. Out of his 2 losses, he lost to Matt Serra. It's not a great win. I mean, not a great loss, but he came back and he won against Matt Serra.
Mhm.
He also lost to Matt Hughes when he was very young, keep in mind, and he still came back and beat Matt Hughes for the belt.
Twice, I believe.
Now, yeah, if we look at some of his other wins, he became a double champion by submitting Michael Bisping. He arguably beat Johnny Hendricks. Split decision. Could go either way. He beat Nick Diaz, Carlos Condit. Jake Shields was great at the time. Josh Koscheck, same thing. Dan Hardy, he was okay. He beat BJ Penn twice, I believe. Yeah.
Which, may I add, George might need to watch his back while he's sleeping after doing things to BJ Penn.
Yeah, BJ's gonna look crazy. I ain't gonna lie. And he also beat, let's see, Frank Trigg, Sean Shirk. He has a lot of good wins. He doesn't have an elite win or an all-time. He has elite wins. He doesn't have an all-time win, which is the main reason why I cannot put him at number 1.
Mhm.
But I'd like to hear your reasoning
All right.
for your number 2.
All right. So, listen, John Jones. It says 28-1, and that is his real ranking. Like I said earlier in the video, however,
Record.
what?
Record. You said ranking.
Oh, my bad. That's his real record, right? However, like I said earlier in the video, it was to a DQ from 12 to 6 elbows. Obviously, I know it's still a loss, and you know, it's on
He
his
lost
resume.
to Dominic Reyes.
And he lost to Dominic Reyes. I personally, when we were making the slides earlier, or not these slides, but I was making some other ones preparing to this, and I put 27-1, not counting the 12 to 6 DQ and adding Dominic Reyes. And I think, you know what? We'll do that. Okay? I'm saying it's 27-1. He lost to Dominic Reyes. Everybody knows it. We all know it. On paper, he won. Call him Anthony Smith. Which, talk about that. He took Anthony Smith to a decision. Now, I am not going to sit here and act like John Jones doesn't have an insane resume. He is almost undefeated. Almost. Not undefeated. He has a win over DC, not 2. PED cheat, which is why I have him number 2. I think John Jones is the GOAT of the sport. However, he's not the natty GOAT of the sport. And if we're going, I can't really say recency exactly because GSP is kind of retired. However, John Jones won the heavyweight title not from beating the champion at the time, but by fighting the interim champ in Cyril Gone. When you wake up in the morning and all the cereal gone. But he beat Cyril Gone to become the champ. He didn't move up for Ngannou. He didn't want to take the chance, you know. Same thing with his recent choice to fight Stipe Miocic rather than Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall is the interim champion, or was. I think he still is, but once again, he was. He's the number 1. He ran through the entire division. I believe it is John Jones, Jan Blachowicz, and Jayton Almeida, Trey, that he hasn't fought in the top 10. And he has 14 first round finishes. His loss against Curtis Blades, quote unquote loss, when he hurt himself, he came back in, was it 305, 304 under Leon Edwards?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 304. Beat Blades within a couple of minutes. His fight time is insane, and I'm pretty sure I saw a statistic somewhere that John Jones' fight against Stipe Miocic was almost as long as it took Tom Aspinall to pretty much clear all of his victims. I'll say.
Yeah.
Um, and GSP, actually, I'll say that for the next slide. Why is John Jones your one?
So the reason I have John Jones number one is he just has an insane resume.
Yeah.
Let's before he even got to the belt, he beat Stephen Bonner, UFC legend. Beat Ryan Bader, UFC legend. Once you get to the belt, he went on an insane win streak,
Mm-hmm.
beating the likes of Shogun Rua, Rampage, Machida, Evans, Belfort, Sonnen. Gus was an elite win. Gus
Mm-hmm.
is an elite win. Glover, elite win. DC, all time win.
Let me add that all of those besides what Chael and who's the other one you said? Gus are all former champions.
Yeah. Um, OSP is kind of a bum. Went to decision with him. DC2 fight, no contest. Doesn't play a part in either one's resume. KO'd Gus. Went to decision with Anthony Smith. But on paper, Anthony Smith is the greatest fighter to ever do it.
Undebatable.
So, yeah. Arguably lost to Thiago Santos. Lost to Dominic Reyes. All right. Takes a 3-year break to duck Ngannou. Comes
Mm-hmm.
back, beats Cyril Gahn. Comes heavyweight champion. Two division champion. Impressive achievement. And then he TKOs a geriatric Stipe. So the latter half of his career, pretty much after that second DC fight, it doesn't do much for him, I'll be honest. But that first half of his career, just insane resume. He was beating almost, he's just beating whoever they put in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
And it's
he
not
has the
like they were putting
most,
easy opponents.
they weren't. And he has the most title wins in UFC history, longest unbeaten streak in UFC history. He has a good bit of finishes. He's like 50-50. He's kind of decision merchant, I ain't gonna lie, but that's okay.
um,
All right.
but GSP, my number one. Um, what I was gonna say at the end of the last one, he didn't duck a fight, as in John Jones is ducking Tom Aspinall. We all know. Q
Well,
brought
he
up a
did.
point.
He did.
Okay, okay. Bring up your point actually.
So he did duck. He ducked the Hendricks rematch by retiring. Then he came back, waited for the easiest middleweight champion stylistically for him to beat, and then ducked the Robert Whitaker fight right
Okay,
after and refused to defend his title.
okay. But let's look at it like this, okay? GSP wanted that middleweight champion. He got the middleweight champion. He beat Michael Bisping for it. He is not required. Now, if this is why, okay? You see John Jones. He is the current champion. He's not retiring, and even if he is, he hasn't said anything about it, so he's just holding up Tom Aspinall's career, okay? GSP, he retired. It's not like he sat there for a long time and like everyone's like, and just sat there for 2 years ducking Robert Whitaker. You know what I'm saying? He retired. He probably couldn't get a one fight contract, which is probably what he wanted. So he beat Bisping and got out of there. You got to respect it. Made him double champ. Amazing. Also, Rush is one of the most insane nicknames of all time. It's really good. Better than Bones, in my opinion. But I
Terrible
think,
take.
once again, John Jones is what? It's a terrible.
That's
What?
a terrible take. That's just a terrible take.
Rush is better than Bones. Quentin.
We'll make a nickname tier list. We
Oh,
can
yeah,
talk
yeah,
about
yeah.
that
Okay, okay.
later.
Anyway, um, he's the natty goat. Okay, he didn't take the PEDs to beat people, like John Jones did for DC. John Jones broke records for what the PEDs and steroid and drug usage. Um, I'm not even gonna get into his character though. I mean, he, 50-45s his wife on the weekend sometimes, but that's his business. Um, that doesn't make him a worse fighter. It actually makes him better, arguably. Anyway, that's our tier list or our rankings. But I'm pretty sure we have one more person left to go, if I'm not mistaken.
We do.
Okay.
We do. The true goat of the sport.
Both of our opinions, collectively, these guys are amazing.
Undefeated.
However, this
How do you not put this kid as the goat of the sport?
this kid
I
is
mean,
bad ass.
undefeated, undisputed, octuple fucking time champion, every weight class. Shamil Gaziev is the champion of.
Just the UFC. He's
Um,
not even just champion of it. He's just the champion of the UFC.
yeah, I
Bigger than
mean,
Conor McGregor, better than John Jones. What can you say?
there's really nothing you can say. Shamil Gaziev just is the goat of the UFC, and you can't do anything about it.
I know where the nicknames are for another video, and I guess this doesn't count, but Shamil, the real Meal Gaziev. And with that, I think we're done with our rankings. And, you know, we're finished. So,
Uh,
all right. Like and subscribe if you want to see more thrilling content. Sometimes we will make updates about who the champion is. In case y'all forget, um, before we do go, I want to remind you that Magomed Ankalaev is the champion. And with that, I hope y'all have a lovely night.